You can be richer than billions of people and still worry about paying the gas bill. How can both of those things be true? Today, we're going to find out. Welcome to UK Finance Dad. Financial advice, mild exasperation, occasional bad jokes. If you earn £30,000 a year, you probably do not think you are rich. You're not choosing between the yacht and the private jet. You are deciding whether the strange noise from the boiler needs fixing now or whether it can become January's problem. But compared with the rest of the world, £30,000 may place you somewhere around the richest 10% of humanity. Earn £50,000 and you could be among the richest few percent. Earn £75,000 and you may be approaching the global top 1 or 2%. Excellent. Shall I order the yacht? No. A modest yacht? We're fixing the boiler. So how can someone rank among the world's highest earners and still feel one unexpected bill away from panic? And does earning a globally remarkable salary actually make you wealthy? Not necessarily. Before we carry on, if you're enjoying this, please subscribe. It costs nothing, and it gives me a convincing argument when my wife asks why I'm spending my evenings drawing stickmen. Today, we're putting British incomes on the global rich list. Not to make anyone feel guilty. You can be extremely fortunate by global standards and still face genuine financial pressure in Britain. Both things can be true. Rather like loving your children deeply while also enjoying the moment they finally go to bed. First, what does rich actually mean? Because there are really two different rich lists. Income is the money coming in. Wealth is what you own after subtracting what you owe. Someone can earn £100,000 a year and still have no savings, 3 financed cars, and the credit card statement that requires emotional preparation before opening. Meanwhile, someone earning far less, with a paid-off home, a pension and investments, may be quietly wealthy. One person looks rich, the other person can stop working. Those are very different achievements. The median full-time UK salary was around £39,000 in 2025. That feels fairly ordinary in Britain. Globally, it is anything but ordinary. The World Inequality Report estimated average global income at around $23,000 international dollars. The poorest half of humanity averages less than $4,000. The poorest half of humanity receives only around 8.5% of global income. The richest 10% receive more than half. Apparently, the global pie was cut by somebody who had already called dibs on most of it. Honesty break. These global rankings are estimates. Different studies measure different things, including household income, spending, and purchasing power. Nobody can honestly tell you that earning exactly £32,417 makes you the 486,291,000 second richest person alive. If a website does, it has probably added several decimal places to confidence it doesn't actually possess. But the broad ranges are useful. Around £20,000 may place you within roughly the global top 10 to 15%. Around £30,000 may place you near the top 10%. Around £50,000 puts you among the richest few percent. Around £75,000 may be approaching the global top 1 or 2%. Whether the exact answer is 4%, 7% or 10% doesn't really change the conclusion. A normal British salary is an extraordinary global income. So we're rich. On a global comparison, I'll open the champagne. That's sparkling water. It's been a difficult quarter. We naturally think income comes down to education, career choices, and hard work. And, of course, the ability to look interested during meetings that should have been emails. Those things matter, but where you're born matters enormously too. Research suggests that the country you live in explains a remarkably large share of global income differences. Some estimates put it at roughly 2/3. Being born in a wealthy country gives you access to reliable electricity, clean water, schools, healthcare, banking, the internet, legal ownership, and an economy capable of paying globally exceptional salaries. It is, in many ways, life's biggest lottery. And none of that means people in Britain have it easy. Housing costs are among the highest in the developed world. Childcare costs are among the highest in Europe. Energy bills have surged. Taxes and national insurance reduce take-home pay. And after all of that, many families still wonder where the money went. Global rankings don't pay your mortgage. They simply remind us that someone earning what feels like an average salary in Britain often has opportunities that billions of people never receive. Then comes another problem. We don't compare ourselves globally, we compare ourselves locally. If your neighbor buys a bigger house, if your colleague upgrades to a newer BMW, if social media fills your feed with luxury holidays, designer kitchens, and 25-year-olds claiming they've retired through crypto, you don't feel globally rich, you feel behind. Psychologists call this social comparison. Economists talk about hedonic adaptation. Whatever label you choose, the result is remarkably similar. Normal quickly becomes invisible. You stop noticing what you already have and focus almost entirely on what someone else appears to have. The algorithm is very good at finding people who seem to own a hotter kitchen than yours. But income only tells part of the story. Let's talk about wealth. Globally, becoming wealthy takes far less than most people imagine. The average adult worldwide owns surprisingly little wealth. If you own your home outright in Britain, have a decent pension and some investments, you are likely to sit surprisingly high in the global wealth rankings as well. Not because you're living like royalty, but because global wealth is extraordinarily uneven. Once again though, that doesn't magically solve cash flow problems. Someone can own an £800,000 house and still hesitate before turning the heating on. Britain is increasingly full of people who are asset-rich and cash flow poor. Their balance sheet looks impressive, their current account disagrees. So what should we actually do with all of this? First, remember that income and wealth are not the same thing. A high salary can disappear remarkably quickly if every pay rise immediately becomes a bigger mortgage, a newer car, or a more expensive lifestyle. Instead of asking, "How much do I earn?" start asking, "How much do I keep?" Because the gap between those two numbers is where wealth quietly grows. Second, avoid measuring your life against carefully edited highlight reels. Some of the people who appear richest are financing almost everything. Others genuinely are wealthy. From the outside, they can look identical. Your bank balance knows the difference. So, I don't need the Lamborghini? Not unless it comes free with an emergency fund. Third, remember that where you start in life is partly luck. What you do next is increasingly choice. Being born in Britain gave many of us opportunities that much of the world would love to have. Squandering those opportunities, trying to impress people we don't even like, seems a fairly poor trade. Gratitude and ambition can exist together. You can appreciate how fortunate you are globally while still wanting to improve your own situation. Those ideas are not in conflict. In fact, they're probably healthier together than they are apart. Perhaps the biggest lesson is this: feeling rich and being rich are rarely the same thing. Many people who feel wealthy have relatively modest incomes, but low stress, strong relationships, little debt, and growing assets. Others earn extraordinary salaries, yet constantly feel one payslip away from disaster. Money is partly mathematics, but it's also psychology. The richest person in the room isn't always the highest earner. It's often the one who needs the least. So this week, try one small exercise. Ignore everybody else's income. Ignore everybody else's car. Ignore everybody else's kitchen. Instead, calculate your own financial scoreboard. How much did you save this month? How much debt disappeared? How much did your investments grow? Are you becoming a little more financially resilient than you were last month? Because that's the only rich list that really determines your future. If you've enjoyed today's episode, subscribe for more practical money advice without the hype. And if Badger has taught us anything today, we're still not getting the yacht? Not until you've filled your ISA. See you next time.